Well, how's it going, man?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
I'm doing good, doing good. Everybody, I'm Andrew from Deer Run Forge, and I'd be the blacksmith side of these brothers.
And I'm Kipling, and I'm from Tapley Tinsmith, and I'm the tinsmith coppersmith of the Brothers in Smithing.
And what we're doing right here is we're just we've for 3 years we have been challenging each other artistically. Started a long time ago because we both made a rose and we started arguing just like brothers normally do, and arguing whose rose was better. So we thought we'd put it out to the general public on Instagram, and we've been doing that for 3 years now, and challenging each other to make different things and push our artistic and I don't know, craftsman skills. And we talk about this constantly with each other, and we thought we would start recording it. So that's what this is all about.
So welcome. This is our first time recording this, so please excuse the bumps along the way. But we thought it'd be a good way to share what we've learned, because the whole point of it, although we like to one up each other regularly, like any other siblings, we want to expand our skill sets and learn new tricks, and we like to share that sort of stuff as we go, and hopefully people come in and share some neat tricks with us as well. So,
exactly. So, because we find it greatly entertaining, and we thought that somebody else might find it entertaining. So, the challenge that we are currently on right now is bookmarks. And what we do is we set some parameters, and then basically take the skills we have in our respective things and try to make something.
Weren't we going to talk about the last one first?
I don't know. Do we need? I think we can go back.
So. I think that would make sense. Like, okay. The last one we just finished is Okay. So yeah, so just to catch everybody up.
How did the last one go for you?
Oh, it was terrible. It was horribly disappointing. I thought I did an awesome thing. It was a toothbrush holder, is what we were doing. And, I'm like, I made this wicked thing. I'm just going to, blew it out of the park. And I got my butt whooped. But that's okay. I'm still proud of it.
That's good. It is. There have been some that we have put out that have not been, haven't been as proud of.
No. And I think that's an important thing for both of us, is that, we want, whether we win or lose, whether we, royally win or royally lose, we want to be proud. Like, hopefully we're proud of the thing that we put out. Now, I am actually quite happy with my toothbrush holder. If you didn't see the challenge, mine, it's made from copper, hence coppersmith. And it's a little bit easier to work with than the tin plate. And unfortunately, the tin plate in the bathroom would probably rust up fairly quickly. So I did it at a copper. And I did what was called air chasing on sort of a top upper band of it. And when you can't see it, it's hard to explain. It kind of looks like a slime mold. If you're, well, it does.
Great.
Kind of.
Try to sell people on it. Yeah. No, it looks like a slime mold. You're gonna put your toothbrush in.
Yeah, fair enough. But like, if you go out walking in the woods, like you and I have done many times, and you see a slime mold go like on rotting wood, it's got that kind of that organic texture to it, and that was at the top, and it looks really, really cool. And then I did some form folding techniques, which is something I hadn't done before, on the base. But the shape itself, I think it's a little bit big for a bathroom. It's probably what. 6 inches wide, which is pretty big for a bathroom, and it's about 6 inches tall as well. So I think, if I was to do it again, I would make it maybe a rounder so it has less width and a bit shorter. But it looks cool, even though
you got a lot of comments on yours that they like, because you have little loops in yours where the toothbrushes can be separated from each other.
Yes. Mine is definitely more hygienic than yours is.
So my actual toothbrush holder in my washroom is a coffee mug that the handle broke off from years ago.
Just saying. Yuck.
Oh, it touches my wife's toothbrush. Oh no.
Okay, no. There's a difference between kissing your wife and scrubbing the plaque from her teeth. And if that's what you do when you're kissing, you have an issue.
You get my. I was gonna pull out the Will Smith. You get my wife's name out of your dirty mouth. It fits somehow, but I don't know how. Anyway, so for the toothbrush holder, I took
A coffee mug, you just broke the handle off it and voila.
yeah, nailed it. A 3-inch pipe, and a steel pipe, and flared the end of it. Hot, obviously, forged it out. Flared the end of it out, and then fullered in or collared in a piece just underneath it. And gave it kind of a distinct pottery shape. My wife is a potter, and actually both of our wives are potters now.
Yeah, I know.
But it definitely has a pottery type shape and feel to it.
It looks like a metal vase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I twisted 2 pieces of steel around and added it as the collar thing. It stands about 5 inches tall if we're measuring. Why are we doing inches? Are we not in Canada?
My traditional background is traditional tinsmithing, which comes from the 1800s, where everything is done imperial.
Fair enough.
But yes, if you want, because
no, it's fine.
No, because you're into the modern world. Mine is what, 15 centimeters tall.
Mine's 13 and a half.
There you go.
But size doesn't matter. But anyway, mine definitely has a very clean, clear look. It is steel. It would be hard to keep it from rusting in an actual bathroom. It'll probably be a pencil holder. I don't think that I'm ever...
So should have been disqualified.
It holds pen. But I think I would make them and sell them a little bit simpler than this one as a pencil holder or as like something that would sit on your desk, because it is quite hefty. It is a piece of steel, so it's not going to tip over. And I kind of like that.
I think it would really do well as like a paperweight or a small vase. Again, probably as a vase is not great because the water wouldn't be great in it all the time. But as like a desk, paperweight, and you put, one of my metal roses, because my metal roses beat your metal roses, in it. I think it would look beautiful.
Yeah, or dried flowers or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't have any plans to make any more of mine, but so that was the past challenge, and I did win that one, which brought us
by a handsome amount.
Yes.
Here, just a minute. I'll let. Oh well, yeah. All right. So it was the toothbrush holder, and yeah, I would say you got 3/4 of the votes. About maybe only 2/3 when I add mine in there too. But yeah, I got schmucked.
So redeeming potentially on the next one, which are bookmarks. Not something traditionally I would think a metalsmith, coppersmith, blacksmith would be making bookmarks. And when you originally suggested bookmarks, I was definitely daunted by it because I'm like, how do I make... Because steel is heavy, and bookmarks you don't really want them to be heavy. They're traditionally made out of paper. So that was my challenge in the whole thing. I didn't want to use... Because I could just use a piece of tin plate, and I have used copper in my projects before.
Stealing my materials, yeah.
100%. But I was trying to stay with the steel thing, so... I found a small cut off piece of wrought iron and hammered the living crap out of it to the point where it's less than a millimeter thin. I can't bend it myself. Like if I try to bend it, so it still has the structure of steel. I don't feel like I'm going to drop it and break it. but it kind of took on that squished, irregular shape of a bolt. It started out as a 1/4 inch bolt, and
Oh, is that what it
it
was?
yeah, it was just a 1/4 inch wrought iron bolt, and now it's about 1.5 inches wide and 4.5 inches long. Yes, I know we did inches, but I agree that inches are more universal.
Well,
And then
I wouldn't say that, but they're more traditional.
traditional, and but for building, like I think of like 1 inch square bar or something like that, or quarter
Yeah,
inch,
but that's
whatever.
only
It's how we talk.
that's only on our side of the pond.
Mm,
People on the other side of the pond are far more intelligent than we are, and they use metric.
true. We'll have to decide this as we go forward, or if people comment that we're not using millimeters and centimeters, we'll not true Canadians. But anyway, I took this piece of wrought iron and did something I've never done, and I etched it in ferric chloride. I have had it for a while, but I've never been brave enough to pull it out. I normally use vinegar, and vinegar will etch wrought iron and take away some of the rust and stuff, and leaves behind. If you have a really old piece, it does show some of the thing, but it wasn't doing that for me on this piece, probably because I squished it so flat. But the ferric chloride gave it some etched and everything, and when I saw it afterwards, it had this natural wood grain to it, and I wanted to emphasize that not just by putting chisel marks in it, but by adding something else. So then I thought I would inlay another metal into it, which is a completely new thing for me. So I had to buy inlay, or not, like engraving chisels. Have you seen this yet? I don't think I've shown you. This is the thing that I used. So it's a small. It's got interchangeable chisel heads, and like we're talking, this thing is. I'm actually going to use millimeters because it's 0.3 millimeters in width, and like, or sorry, in diameter, and like fractional. I can't even measure it. I'd have to calipers out in diameter or in width, I guess, whatever, this way. So very, very small, and I had to sharpen it pretty much every centimeter. I would chisel in, like tap, 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 very small hammer, get about a centimeter, and you could actually feel that it wasn't catching anymore, and I'd have to take it over to my grinder and just barely touch it to
tap
just,
it. Yeah.
and then I could get another centimeter and tap it and grind it.
That sounds tedious.
It was not fun. But having the grinder right there was definitely helpful, and having that these are interchangeable, so they come in different widths, and this very cheap from the cheapest place that you can buy them from.
So you might not have to sharpen it as much if you get it more.
Probably not. Probably not. Yeah. So anyway, did some inlay stuff, and of course, the first 3 times I tried to try it, it didn't work. I tried to cut dovetails into the channel, into the sides of the channel, so it would squish down on the copper is what I used.
Of course, stealing my material again. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And the first time it popped out and everything, so I actually had to go back and add, I don't know what they're called, but basically a burr at the bottom of the channel, like chiseling in a little piece that would come up, a little burr. So when you hammer the copper down, that piece would actually come down and squish it as well.
Essentially, a metal version of Velcro.
Yes. Yes, that's what it would look like on a microscopic level. And I'm doing this all. I should have bought, I should have lenses so you can see. And watching other people inlay stuff is like they're doing it through microscopes and actual engraving tools and engraving burrs and everything. So trying to do it sort of haphazardly for the first time on wrought iron, which is not a traditional inlay piece, and copper, which is again one of the harder metals. I guess brass would be slightly harder, but copper or gold or silver would be softer to try to
softer to put it in. A lot more expensive.
Yes. So I love that I did it, and the way it turned out. It feels like a fidget toy in my hand. So not that I read a lot of books, but when it comes out of the book, it has different texture and feel.
Read.
I didn't say that. I just said I don't like to.
Education
And if you
sucks.
were close to me, if you're close enough to me, this would be like you've seen people with throwing cards. This would be a
You're gonna
per
throw it at my head, are you?
man. You could do some damage with this thing. Anyway, that's my bookmark. What's your bookmark?
Ah, well, no, no, no. See, I
Beat
don't
that
have.
sucker.
Ah, I don't have a bookmark. I have multiple bookmarks. Multiple. So yeah, looking around again, like yeah, your standard bookmark, rectangular piece of cardboard. Didn't want to go that route. Like, I thought about just taking that and chasing or pounding in like a fun pattern to make it look really neat. So I decided to look around, see what other things I've seen, and I started seeing some neat bookmarks that hook over the back of your book. So it goes in and it hooks over the spine, so it doesn't slip out and that. And then I started thinking about like, well, okay, what can we make this kind of fun? And I started thinking, wouldn't it be kind of cool if you had like an animal coming out of your book, and it just kind of made me laugh a little bit. So I thought, well, I can't make an animal. I want to be fairly quick and easy, because then I can make a bunch of them. Ooh, that got quiet. So I decided on going for an elephant trunk, because that's the first thing that popped in my head. Just have this like, maybe you're reading Dumbo or Out of Africa or something like that, and you see a little elephant trunk sticking out of the top of your book, and I thought that would be really kind of funny. And so I decided to try using brass, just because I like the color of it, and I can chase in a pattern, and I cut out the trunk shape. And then I did a bunch of just texturing with a hammer on part of it to harden to work harden the metal so it's not too flimsy. And then I decided to use I was going to antique it with a compound called liver of sulfur, which pushes like copper over time, either goes green or black, and there's copper as part of bronze. So I'm using the liver of sulfur. It pushes the black patina on it fairly quickly. And it came out okay, but so I'm like, all right, well, what else can we do? And I started throwing some ideas around with my wife and a few other coming up, trying like, what else could we do? I think it was her that suggested an octopus tentacle also coming out, and then a friend of ours, when we were doing our live cast on Instagram, suggested a mermaid tail. And so I did both of those, and they turned out really cool. But then I was looking at the mermaid tail. I'm like, well, it's a fish, half fish. Well, you're only seeing the fish part. And what can we do for coloring? And I didn't want to paint it. And I was looking around, and I found another way to force a patina on it. And if you use a closed container and you put salt and vinegar, kind of like a chip, on top of your brass, and then yeah, I know you're gonna eat it right up, and then put it in a container with an open small dish of ammonia, close it up, and let it sit overnight. It actually forces a beautiful blue patina on it. And so I got the patina going, and then I cleaned it off of the fins at the very end of the mermaid tail. But now it's got a really cool blue look to it. And so that was really fun to try out. A bit smelly. I got to be careful with ammonia and other chemicals. But yeah, so we both went chemical this time.
Yeah, that's
ferric
weird.
chloride and ammonia. But yeah, so I got a couple of images of books. I found the appropriate books. I've got like the Old Man in the Sea story with the tentacle coming out. I've got Peterson's Guide to Fishes with the mermaid tail. I thought that was appropriate. And then a book on Africa that has the elephant trunk coming out. But they look really cool. They got some nice texturing to them. They're so gonna,
And you
it.
intend to, yeah, probably they have a whimsy feel to them, but you intend for these to be actual things to sell. So we do craft fairs, and we've started doing this selling because we make all these things, but then they take up too much space, and our wives do get sick of some of them.
Not just our wives. I'm like, I need that in my house.
Yeah. So we have started doing craft fairs and selling some of these things. So you intend these bookmarks to be a product, kind of a product
Absolutely, and
line
that's
per se.
why they couldn't be too in depth. Like, I had some people suggest things like dragons and some really neat ideas. Like, I thought of, like, it'd be really cool if you had like a skeleton arm coming out. But the amount of work to make that look proper, because
Yeah.
it's a bookmark, you can't sell it for $40. No one's going to buy a $40 bookmark, or at least I haven't met anybody who will do that.
No.
So these are fairly quick. So I which means I can then sell them. Again, the idea is to sell them, I think, for about $10 or so. Which means I'm not making a lot of money on them because, with the material costs and whatnot. Probably per bookmark, if I'm making them out of copper, it's $2 or so of copper, but that's only $8 for my time. So I better be making them fast, but they got to be good.
Yep. I will probably never be able to sell or recoup any of the time out of, because the inlay itself, now this was my first one, but still to redo it would be hours of time to just do the inlay and,
Absolutely, because you can't count the first time you do something, right? Like, it's like the first time, the planning, the FUBARs, or the batty fangs, which is my idea. That we got to throw the batty fang term in all the time. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the term batty fang, it's a Victorian term. I am a tinsmith, which comes from the Victorian area. To batty fang something means to royally F it up. And so you got to batty fang a few things as you're working. So you can't count the time of the first one. That's the goal. Every podcast, we are going to get the term batty fang in.
Batty fang in there, eh?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I don't think I'll ever sell, but using the copper inlay on something else could be potentially, a cool technique to elevate something else. Like my original thoughts are to do the veining on leaves or something like that. Can you imagine
be very cool, but so time consuming.
Yeah, but it'd be so sharp, man. So sharp. Anyway.
See, to me, that's like a commission piece, right?
Yeah.
Like someone's paying you to spend the time, because if you've got to sharpen your chisel after every centimeter and you're doing 20 leaves, ow.
No, this would be like, yeah. So the patinaing that you used was new to you. You'd never done that patinaing. Did you buy any new chemicals or just salt?
No, it's ammonia. I do have some ammonia at home. And it's salt and vinegar, and I hope you have salt and vinegar at home too. If not, you're weird. But no, I have used other patinaing, like I said, that liver of sulfur gel. I've used that before. This is the first time I've tried to get a color patina on it. And it was interesting because I've done it now with salt and vinegar and just with vinegar, and I found you get a different color. You get more of like a light cerulean. Oh, that's a good word. That's my word for the day. Cerulean blue.
Trying to show me up. He's trying to show me up now. You can't read, and you don't know these big long terms.
You know cerulean because of cerulean warblers.
I do.
See, you know that color. So without the salt, I got a more cerulean blue. With the salt, I got more of a dark navy blue, which is really kind of neat. It's some neat force patinas.
You still haven't figured out the green for the copper.
No, that Virtus. No, I'd like to figure that one out too. I've heard fertilizer might work with it, but I haven't messed around with it. And okay, there's other chemicals. There's all sorts of fun patinas. I've got a whole book on.
I'm just going to take a piece of copper, shove it in your garden.
Yeah, except for then it takes like 3 years.
You have 6 raised beds? You can just rotate them through. All the bookmarks in bed 1 are for 3 years from now. Bed 2 is 6.
Hey, love, we're not growing vegetables anymore. We're just patinaing copper. I don't think she'd be impressed. She likes her tomatoes.
The tomatoes taste funny this year. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't want that. Although, the cool thing about the liver of sulfur gel that I use,
it smells like butt.
No, it smells like rotten eggs because it's sulfur. But after you do the patina, you let it sit and the sulfur settles out, and then you actually pour it on your tomatoes because tomatoes love sulfur. It's a compound that they need. So I get to patina my metal, and I get to grow awesome tomatoes.
There you go.
You're jealous. I know you
A
are.
little bit. A little. I don't like tomatoes, but yeah.
Yeah, well, you're weird. Don't read. You don't like tomatoes. I didn't say you couldn't read this time. I said you don't read.
Well, I appreciate that. So, do you have while doing all these other projects? Is there anything else you're working on? Any other? You just finished another commission, but
yeah, I had a buddy. Well, the martial arts club that I belong to. I gifted my sensei a medallion of our crest, chased out of copper. As a thank you for the way that he's been teaching class and he treats me and my son, and it's fantastic. And so as a Christmas gift, I made him this chased crest, which is really, really fun. It was good practice for me to get some more chasing done. And he liked it, and he decided he wanted to give them as gifts to other high ranks in the Wadokai Karate Federation. And so he commissioned me to make 8 more of them. So I did a whole bunch of those, which was really, really cool. And really, great for my practice, right? Because I'm doing the same thing 8 times. And so, you batty fang one, and see, couldn't get it in. And you're like, ooh, okay, this, got to do it differently. Oh, so you start to build up, okay, this is the best way, or this is the best tool to do this part and whatnot, and getting some of the fine detail, because like part of the crest, it's a dove, and the head is tilted a certain way, and getting the beak right, some of them turned out really good, some turned out okay, but they, in all, it was a good project. So yeah, that was sort of one of my things on the side. How about you?
I had my little blacksmith dude. So I don't know why, I don't know where, but I saw a little automaton, which are the things where you
something like an automaton. Something like an automaton. Come on, you got to sing that as you're going. Something.
No,
like
it doesn't sing anything. So you turn the crank,
you can sing it.
and it you see a fish swimming, or I'm gonna mute you over here, and it has a cam underneath it. So I saw one that was a blacksmith, but it looked nothing like a blacksmith would swing a hammer, and it bugged me, like fundamentally. It basically was a stick figure with his arms out 90 degrees, and one hand was going up and down on a cam, and a wooden anvil in front of him. And I was like, well, wouldn't it be cool if this guy was actually swinging a hammer like a blacksmith kind of swings a hammer? And that set me down a path of trying to, and I've made a couple little wooden jointed, like those dancing men and other things for a museum I work at, and I was like, I can make this thing better. So that I've been down that, and I just finished him up the other day. So he's all posted online and everything, and he's great amusement to me, but now takes up space in my house. So not quite sure what he's going to be, but other than a smile on my face, so I can.
Yeah, it definitely needs a little speak beside it. Something like an automaton. You know what? You know those old Victorian.
I wonder how many people actually know what song you're actually singing, and don't like.
Is that because of the way I'm singing it, or just our age?
No, well, or there's a very. I think that song's pretty niche, and also from a very niche era. You're showing your age.
LL Cool J is not niche.
LL Cool J's a little niche, man.
But no. Think about this. So mounted beside the cam, those old Victoria music boxes that have the little things that ting. So you set one up so it plays that song as you turn the crank. The blacksmith goes as something like you just.
Why wouldn't they sing a blacksmith song?
Because he's an automaton. Come on, you're missing the whole joke. And the only blacksmith song we really know by the Longest Johns. I think that is less well known than Phenomenon.
Yeah, probably.
Now I'm just going to be saying something like Phenomenon.
Yeah, you can stop it anytime. Drive all of the 4 listeners that we have away. Kept singing. our
Yeah.
future, our next build
Oh,
after these bookmarks. So these bookmarks will go out, and people will vote on these. Our next one,
I'm super excited about
afterward.
the next one. I'm like,
Are you?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely pumped.
It's the scale of the next. So we're doing fairy doors, and the scale is it's got to be 6 inches or 15
Well,
centimeters.
it is a
Fit
fairy door.
within.
If you make it 3 feet high, it's not for a fairy. That would be
But
for like a dwarf or
it
a
would
gnome.
be way easier for me to make a bigger hinge.
Yes,
So
because
yeah,
that's the caveat. The door has to open and shut. It can't just
yeah.
be, static. But like, I know you don't read. I do. Yeah. The theme of this podcast is Dear Red
Andrew, don't
Forge
read.
doesn't read.
Andrew, don't read. I read
But
to my kids every night. What are you talking about?
but my genre of choice when I'm looking for like brain fluff and just, escapism is fantasy. And so Fairy Door, right up my alley. Like, I'm excited by the project. I think it's neat. You see them. We actually have a fairy door in our house. We have a fairy that moved in for my kids. Her name is Belly. I know. We signed a contract.
My
when
kids.
she showed
I
up.
like no. I like that you had to add that we have a fairy door in my house for my kids.
No, we got the fairy door. It came with a contract we had to sign that Belly, our fairy, my daughter Griffin named her, has a responsibility to do the tooth fairy jobs. I think there's a few other things that she does, and in exchange, where we allow her, she can like raid our cupboards and steal some of our food. It was a whole big thing. So we have a fairy door, and it's awesome. And that was really cool. So I'm excited about making her own, which is kind of fun.
So do you have a type of, like, you're gonna try to entice a certain fairy?
See, not sure. I started doing some looking around because again, that's usually before any project. I generally, Google it, like see what's out there. I could say 99%, but that's probably exaggeration. But 85, 90% of them are that standard like door that has a dome or slightly pointed top, which is cool and all. And like when we a while back we did that I've lost it, the planter gnome. So we had to do gnomes, and I did a gnome that was just half their head sticking out of a trap door. And so I'd done that door paneling stuff and it looked really cool, and I thought I'd do something like that. But that shape's everywhere. So I'm thinking about different shapes. We've talked about doing a round, like the round hobbit hole sort of style, but I haven't settled yet. Right, so I'm kind of like where we're going with it. So I don't know, but I don't think I want to do, at least as the first one, that standard fairy door shape. You?
I think I'm going more I think in Lord of the Rings and the films and stuff like that. Those circular doors and like big iron hinges, like blacksmith type stuff.
Those are hobbits.
Hobbit door.
Fairies.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but a hobbit is
okay, but it's small. Stop.
Fairy.
But the shape, more of the shape and stuff of those. But
it is. It's a very nice shape. Now the question is, like, if you're going round, you're gonna are you actually gonna flatten one side so you get some hinges on it, or are you gonna try to hinge a round door, and so the hinge sticks out, and like it'll have to be a longer hinge so it can open up and not catch the tail end of the round.
And I haven't quite 100% decided that. I haven't. It's also because we need to make the frame of this door, and that might be a more challenging part for myself too, unless I start, because welding something in the round would be challenging, if not impossible. So
I think everything on this is all about the frame. For me, I'm thinking do the frame first, and then build the door to fit the frame, because I think it'll be easier to tweak your door than to tweak the frame.
Yeah,
but that's, and then
see, mine's gonna be centered on the hinges, so the door is gonna kind of be, being a blacksmith. If I don't blacksmith hinges, I'm gonna be a little.
Yeah, but even if you're working on the hinges, it's still the frame. Like, how do you mount the hinges to the frame? Right? Because again, I don't for me, once I've got the hinge, but like I'm just riveting it. Like the plan is just to rivet it on. That's fairly simple. Like I just need to make sure the door has a space to do that and whatnot. But it's like what's the mechanic? Because it's the opening and closing. Like if it was just a flat door, like yeah, I could chase a door, and you could stick it on a wall or a tree or that, and it'd look fine. But we're being dumb and saying it has to open and close.
Yes. Yeah.
But so it's actually one of the ones coming up that I'm really, really pumped about. So I'm like I'm excited by it. I think it's something that, I think there's a market for doors if I can make them at a decent speed, and quality. I think I can sell them for I don't know, $50. You think? You think if
the right door with the right, because yours again, it's not going to be paper or wood or something like that. That's going to. It's not going to
be basic wood, just painted. Like it's actually going to be metal shaped and whatnot. And again, yeah, it's not a cheap door, but
it's a forever door.
It's a forever door, and it's not. I don't make anything. I can't make like my material in and of itself. Like making something for $10 or like that's as cheap. I can't make anything for cheaper than that, just for material costs. Unless like I literally take a piece of copper and cut it into a square and sell it as a coaster.
Coaster.
Then I could probably sell one for $5. But
with the green patina, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. Chuck it in.
Actually,
I don't count that time.
They did that with the Parliament buildings. They took the old copper sheeting, they cut it into maple leaves and sold them as little pins, trying to recoup the cost of redoing the tin or copper roof on the Parliament buildings.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, but then you've got somebody with a CNC machine that cuts them.
100%. 100%. So did you? What was your other thing you wanted? Your esoteric eggles?
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You want to start with your?
Yeah. So I figured. Yeah. Andrew thinks this is dumb, but that's okay. I don't.
No,
care.
I didn't say it was dumb. It's silly, which is totally on brand for us. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So I've decided we have a segment called Esoteric Eggles, and it has nothing to do with our work. It has nothing to do with the challenge. It's just something stupid and random. So the random thing for tonight is, what do you have in your shop that you're seeing every day that is maybe inspiration, but it has nothing to do with your work. It just sits there. And for me, because I just put Andrew on the spot. He's looking around his shop right now. Going, oh no, I gotta find something. So I got up on my wall. I could actually bring it. I know you guys can't see it, but we actually have a video going, so we can share it because we're not in the same place right now. I have this photo that up on my wall, and so Andrew and I, we are not actually brothers. We're not blood related. We've been friends for over half our lives now. We consider ourselves family, hence the term brother. And this is from an earlier time. This is very shortly after we met. This is the first year we met. And we were out and we were imbibing some libations, a little bit too much. And somebody came by and took a photo who had also imbibed a few too many libations. And the photo is 100% fuzzy. I just know it's us because, we were there. And it sits up on my wall just behind it. And it's sort of like, it reminds me of the competitions and what we're doing, but it's also just, hey, there's family up on the wall. So that is my esoteric, that is what I have in my shop that has nothing to do with work. That's kicking around.
Very nice. Very nice. I'm going to hang on, because I know they can't see it, but I'm going to show you because I don't think you've ever seen it.
Oh.
See if we can see it. Can you see above me?
I can see above you. It looks like a green splotch on your ceiling.
It is a green splotch on my ceiling. So when I was
mold. You might want to get that cleaned.
No. It's I put it there.
You put your own mold in your house. That's great.
Stop. So I was making decoys. And painting, like working decoys with oil paints, which I'd never done before. And when you're using oil paints, I had it on a piece of cardboard, and it was mixing the pieces and the colors and stuff like that. And because it was still wet, I didn't want to throw it in the garbage can and get it off everything over there, so I took a staple gun and I stapled it to the ceiling, and and it's got all these like yellows and greens and blues. If you actually look at it, and browns, the colors of a wood the species of wood duck that I was doing. I was doing a female wood duck, and it's
So
kind of
essentially, it looks like someone has projectile vomited on your ceiling, and that is your inspiration. I love it.
it. There it is, man.
I have a touching story of the beginning of our friendship, and
You put me on the spot. You put me on the spot.
I think that's awesome. That is awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, one last thing, because we've been going for a while. Last thing to bring up, we want to talk about things we like in our shop, or things that we want to improve, like an upgrade that we've done to our shop, a tool or something that either we need to figure out because it's not working out for us, or that is something that we have figured out that's working really, and we want to share. So take it away, Deer Run Forge.
I absolutely
don't use your ceiling vomit paint as your upgrade.
No. Files bug. So doing really fine stuff and everything like that. Filing is just a matter of metalsmithing. It's the sandpaper of metalsmiths at blacksmiths, and you have a bunch of files and stuff too. I have not figured out how to properly store files in a way that you can access the one that you want when you want it,
without taking every single one out of the container until you find finally the one that you want.
I have a roll, right, which I have mounted to the wall that you slide them in and out of, and that's okay-ish, but it's a pain to get in and out, and like it's not quick and easy.
And that takes up a decent chunk of wall space.
It takes up a big part of wall, and I have more files than that. So like when you go to do the I want to do an aggressive file, I want to get the bigger one out or the smaller one out, they're not in my standard set. And currently they're in a bucket, and I'm thinking, and I don't know if this is going to be good because I use them for metal, but you know those magnetic strips? Like the tool holders, magnetic strips? If I had those, I'm thinking they're going to get little file bits on them and stuff from like the chips from the files, but you could see the file, because that's part of the problem, right? Is you pick up the file and you don't know which one it is.
Because you're grabbing by the handle.
And all of my handles are random. Yes, I know some of them, the common ones, but I want the triangle file. How often do I use that? And it's like
I use it far more often than I thought I would. I the square file and the triangle file are two of my favorites for like aggressive digging into a hole. Like
100%.
They are fantastic. But see, whereas same issue as you have. Like again, I've got now I don't use the really big files very often because of my material being sheet metal. I tend to use the itsy bitsy wee ones, and of course, as you know, but everybody else doesn't know, you do some fantastic woodwork as well, and you wood turned handles so that they can. So I've got a set of small files that I can bring to a pioneer village. This is where I started my trade, or a historic event or something like that, and they look more period. And I thought originally, I'm like, well, hey, they're wooden, so I can just take like a, magic marker or something like that and draw the shape on the tip of the handle, and then, okay. But as I use them, of course, your sweat and your, just the grease and that from your hands gets on them, and they go all black. So that's not working. So, yeah, no, I'm struggling with that too. So if anybody's got a suggestion for how to organize your files so you can access them easily, but they're not taking up a huge amount of space because, space is a premium in the shop. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
We could wood burn. Oh, sorry. I was just thinking we could wood burn on the back of yours, like the triangle and square and stuff, but then there's like the half round, and like that's going to be a pain to
get the right shape, because I've got a half round. I've got one that is convex on both sides, but not as circular. But not so that. So I've got a couple I've got a few different ones. So yeah, I don't know. If anybody's got a solution, yourself included, I would love to hear it, because like I've got, a tin Like I made a tin canister. I know I could have just got a Pringles can, but I had made one. I was practicing some tin smithing, and I had a
I
couple.
I have a really
Yeah.
cool steel now file holder, aka toothbrush holder, that would look pretty snazzy.
But now on that vein, for the sandpaper side, I did come up with a hack that I like. I don't know if maybe I saw it on Instagram or somewhere, or I personally think I was out. I was actually on a field trip with my kids, and one of the places I was at, they had the brochure, like a small brochure holder on the gift store counter. And there's that tiered one that can hold like 3 or 4 different in a small tier. And I thought, hey, that's great because I don't need big pieces of sandpaper. I tend to cut my sandpaper down into strips anyways. And so I got 3, 4. I think they're 4. Yeah, there are 4 brochure holders, and I mount them on the wall. And then now I have 12 different grits of sandpaper, each in a different holder, and I labeled the front of them or the top corner so I can see what it is. So I can I need a 220. Boom, it's right here. And so far, I'm happy with it. Now, I put the ones like the really fine grits I very rarely use because I don't do my mirror polish. It's way too much effort for me. So they're at the back. I don't need to access them. And like the really rough grits at the front, I might rearrange that because I don't tend to use the really like 60. I don't tend to use a 60. 220 to 400 is generally my bag. Sometimes I go down to 100, so maybe I might move those to the front just so they're easier access. But right now they're in coarsest all the way up to finest. But it's working well, so I'm happy with that. That's my latest hack, brochure holder. And I think like the 3-pack that I got off of Amazon was like $30, so it wasn't too bad.
Nice.
And so far, much less mess.
Well, that's good. Okay, here's the question for you. Once you use the sandpaper, does it stay on your bench, or does it go back in the holder if it's still usable?
If it's still used, depends on where I am in a build. Like once I don't know if you've noticed this. There's a critical point in a build. As soon as you hit that point, you can't stop. And if I'm doing that, then things get just left on the benches, and that's where my work area, because I don't have a workshop, I work in my basement, or I work in 1/8 of my basement. Gets really messy because you're doing your work and you just put things down I'm there, I'm almost there. Otherwise, if I'm actually being judicious and it's early on, then it goes back up in there. And then
you will put a piece of used sandpaper back in. Okay.
Yeah.
That was my question, is what do you do with the used piece of sandpaper, because
it goes back in the front. So because of brochures, I've cut them into strips because you get the 8x11 size sheet of sandpaper, right? Yep. So I cut them into strips that are about the size of a brochure. So if you take one sheet and you cut it side to side, and you get it into 3 chunks that are about the same size. So those goes in the holders, and then I take one of those, and I generally, again, I'm working small on stuff, so I don't need that big piece. So I cut that again into smaller pieces, and they go in the front. So I use them, put them back in the front. When they get used up, they get chucked. So I've always got good stuff at the back, half used stuff at the front.
Nice.
Yeah. So far, it's working out well.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna post the bookmarks soon. So if you follow us on our social medias,
the bookmarks are posted today.
Oh, they are. Okay. Yes, they will go out after this.
They'll be out the same day. So you can check both of our Instagrams. We both have it up on stories. If you're going to vote twice, make sure you vote for me twice, not him. Very important.
And we don't care who you vote for. We just care that you do, as long as you vote. A vote for the other guy is still a vote, and that's because art is subjective, and we realize that what we're creating is art. So,
and you can vote on our stories, or you can vote in the comments. And if you are voting in the comments, just for our interest sake, just put that you watch our podcast, or just so we know. I'm kind of curious to see if we get any traction from this. That would be really cool. But yeah, Deer Run Forge or Tapley Tinsmith are the two to check out. And if you don't know how to spell, like Deer Run Forge over there, who's a bit dodgy on his spelling, if he read more, he would probably be better at spelling. Yeah, I told you. It's all about your inability or your choice not to read today. If you look at our title, both Deer Run Forge and Tapley Tinsmith are spelled out there for you. So if you are like Andrew, it's good help.
Oh, brutal, man. Brutal. All right, man. Well, good luck, and we'll check in once this
May the best
one's up.
bookmark win, aka mine.
I don't know. Mine's the craftsman. See, this is the one. Yours has the whimsy. Mine has the craftsmanship on this one.
I will agree. Yours has more skill involved. Getting that like that. I'm impressed by the inlay, but mine's better.
Well,
thank you for listening. If you listened, and have a good day.